We have a couple of special guests in the studio right now, and I'm talking about two correctional officers at the Federal Correctional Institution, better known as the FCI. Rob Curnan and Mike Parady join us here, and we thank you guys for coming in.
Well, thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
To talk a little bit about the government shutdown, not just to talk about the government shutdown, but talk about not being compensated for what you do at FCI. And I wanted to know, no matter what the politics situation is, and everybody's got their take on it, are you required to go in? Are you required to go into work even though you're not getting compensated?
Yes, we are what's called expected employees. We have to go in regardless of pay. It is a public safety issue. If we don't go to work, there is nobody to watch incarcerated persons. We have to go in regardless of pay. It is actually against the law for us not to go in.
Is that right?
Yeah. We are required employees. We can be disciplined in the future if we don't show up.
Right.
We are not allowed to strike. We are not allowed to have walkouts, anything like that. Back in the day, this all came about because Reagan fired 11,000 air traffic controllers when they went on strike.
11,000?
11,000.
Well, you guys have a fun job. Don't you want to go to work for free?
Honestly, we do like our jobs, most of us, because you don't last long in this profession if you don't.
Right.
But it's a serious job, and we don't like going in with no pay.
I'm being a wise guy here, but I need you to indulge some of my curiosities. So the facility that you work at, I can never remember. Is it a men's facility or a women's facility?
I got to be careful with this. It's both.
It's both?
Oh, okay. So
okay. So there are two different sections?
There's actually 3 total facilities. There's the main FCI, the main prison, which is a low-security male prison.
Right.
There's now a satellite female low-security prison and a satellite prison camp that's minimum security that's also female.
Okay. Ethan, where was that last Miss Headline story? Do you have it still?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard on the way in. We do this segment, Miss Headlines. It's basically stupid news. Story number 3 here I want to share with you guys. An inmate at a prison in Nashville named Kenneth Johnson was being strip searched this month after guards accused him of hiding contraband. He kept telling them he was not hiding anything and stuck to his story, even though they saw a plastic bag dangling from his backside. Apparently, he tried to fight off the guards, and they had to pepper spray him. And according to the report, they sprayed his face and his buttocks area, and they were able to remove the substances. So that they had to dig around in his rear end to pull out those substances. Have you guys ever had to do anything like that before?
I've never had to actually go up there and dig around.
Right.
We've had to do things like what's called a dry cell. If somebody swallows something, we actually have to wait for it to pass through their system. They have no running water. We collect their waste, and it is searched through. So yes, we've done things like that, but I've never actually had to go up there and look.
That sounds appealing, huh? You want to do that for free?
Oh, God.
You're complaining about being here this morning with the broken computer. Get real.
I know.
Huh?
I know. Think of the large perspective.
When were you notified that if the government shutdown continues to a certain point, you're going to go without pay?
Usually a couple days before the shutdown. We hear the news stories and the the government's going to shut down. Usually a couple days before, we get a notice in our email saying, if the government shuts down on this date when appropriations run out, this is what's going to happen. And then we have a recall system where they can send us messages, and when the government shuts down, they let us know that all vacations, all sick times that have been approved are now canceled. No leave is approved. Mm-hmm. So if you have plans, cancel them. Come to work.
You said something off the air that I thought was interesting because Ethan said it at the end of the show yesterday, and he was just talking. It just he kind of slipped, and he said something that I kind of jumped on him for. He said they probably have enough money to make it to X point, and I said, well, how do you know that? You don't know people's individual finance. He was talking about you guys and your coworkers. They probably have enough money to make it to a certain point. I said, how do you know that? You don't know people's individual finances. And somebody had said that in an argument on social media that you guys should have money in the bank. What is...
Well, we do. we do have enough money to make it X point. X point for a lot of the staff there is the next paycheck.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. And you're all individuals, too. Right. You don't know
everyone's individual circumstances vary. So
right.
Yeah. There are people going through divorces. There are single parents.
Sure. You just came off Christmas.
Right. You just came off Christmas. I mean, we have people with newborn babies and their spouses are out on maternity leave and they're the only income right now.
Trying to buy formula.
Yeah. I mean,
which I understand is very expensive.
Yeah.
Yes. yeah, while some people may have savings, I'm very lucky. My wife works. She makes a good living. Our income's cut in half, but we can still buy food and gas and things like that. Yeah, it may be tough to pay the mortgage this month, but I'll live. You know, there are other people with single incomes that don't have another person to help them out. They may not have a lot of savings because it's just them. So it's tough on a lot of people.
Here's the frustrating part that I'm just, trying to put myself in your shoes, is there's nobody to talk to about this. I mean, you can't go to your superiors and say, when is it going to happen?
Right.
Because it's not up to them.
Yeah, no, that just adds to and compiles on the frustration and the stress of just not knowing. Yeah. In shutdowns past, I mean, there have been shutdowns in years past where it's a day or two or 3 or 4. We have missed a paycheck. 2013 was the last time. This is my second shutdown where we've missed a paycheck. And it sucks.
Right.
But in years past, there's been a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. You know when kind of the end game is going to be. We don't see that now. And that's dangerous.
Scary.
Let me just butt in here. If you just joined us, we're talking to Rob Curnan and Mike Parady. They're both correctional officers at the FCI. I had a question I wanted to ask and I lost it.
Do you remember when we got furloughed a bunch of years back?
Yes.
I walked into work. I'm like, what? What is happening? What's going on? Wait, what do you mean? I don't get it. We're not getting money?
Right.
When is this happening? And it was like it flipped my whole world upside down.
Right.
Because, you show up to work and they give you a paycheck in return. That's how that works. You understand?
Let me ask you this. The incarcerated people at FCI, is this going to affect their behavior? I mean, are they going to
That's a great question, yeah.
Are they, I guess, sense that you guys really aren't that happy right now because you're not getting compensated?
All right. Well, right now I'm going to tell you there's inmates that are listening to this show right now.
Okay.
They have radios, they have televisions, they have newspapers. They know what's going on. Inmates are not stupid people. There are people in jail, they've made mistakes. I mean, some, just like the general public, some are not bright, some are very smart. They know what's going on. Is it going to impact us? Yeah, the stress levels are up. They know that. If there's an inmate looking to get over on somebody, they may know that this is a situation where somebody's mind is not on the job 100% because they got other stress going on in their life. So they may be looking to take advantage.
Yeah, distractions, morale issues.
Exactly.
I mean, and then, they have all day to sit up and think of ways to take advantage of situations.
Some, not all, I'm sure, but some, I'm sure, are looking for cracks in the armor for some of the staff. And whoever shows any bit of, that's where it becomes incumbent upon us to stay vigilant, focus on your job. You go in, you do your 8 hours, and leave it at work.
Right.
That's it.
Now, what my real worry is that down the line, let's say this shutdown lasts a month, 2 months, 3 months. People are going to stop coming to work. They can't afford to not work for that long without pay. We're going to lose people. They're going to quit. They're going to find other jobs. They're going to stop coming to work because they can't afford gas to put in their car. If that is the case, we're going to be short-staffed. We're going to start having to shut down programs like education, recreation. That's when we're really going to be in danger of more violence because the inmates are going to have things taken away from them.
Right. Have you guys thought about another job or?
Oh, I filled out an application last night to get some parts. Absolutely,
you have to.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to put food on the table. You got to pay the bills. We can get in trouble for not paying bills, for justifiable debts that we have, credit cards, mortgages, car payments, other loans that we have. We have a responsibility to pay them. We can get in trouble if you don't. We can get fired if you don't.
And I've read, and I don't know if this is true, that I'm sure in some cases it is or isn't. Creditors don't care.
No,
if you can't pay the bills.
No, not at all.
It depends on the individual. Depends on the creditor. I've heard in years past that some creditors will work with you, but you're right. I think the majority they want their money, and I don't blame them.
No,
they want their money.
Yeah, they've lent it out. They want it in a timely fashion, and it's fair. I mean, I know people that have called their creditors and been like, "Listen, we're on shutdown. I'm gonna pay. I'm just trying to get with you and come to an arrangement." And they're like, "No, we understand. We'll help you out. We'll defer your payment for a couple months." And you're like, "Great, but we're going to have to report it to the credit bureau because that's the law."
And still play catch up.
Yeah,
right.
So now I go from a 700-800 credit score. I'm doing well and everything's fine. And now I get a hit on my credit and I go down to a 5-something. Now I got to get another car or get any kind of loan. And I'm beat.
Right.
So how does that doesn't help at all?
Yeah, long-term consequences is this is going to cost every federal employee more money.
Have you had any of your coworkers, superiors, friends suggest that coming on this show to talk about it was a bad idea?
No.
No, not at all.
Oh, good. A lot of people here that are coming on the Ethan Lucia, they say, don't do that. That will not help you.
Well, as I told the guy up the hall, on the other show, that sometimes, how many fart jokes and boob jokes can you do? Sometimes you just got to get serious.
No, they're infinite.
And this is
don't worry about that. I'll never run out.
This affects not only you guys, but 800 other federal employees.
If I may ask, when were you guys furloughed? What was that about? So
that was a long time ago.
That
was a long time ago, and it was one pay period.
And did you have to come in and go on air?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't get paid?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think I got paid.
Oh, you did because no, he was like what you had a
grandfathered in.
Yeah, you were grandfathered. It was a seniority based thing. So anybody who didn't have X amount of years was furloughed, and then
but that was
you showed
one pay
up.
period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now which is the 25th day of the shutdown?
Yeah, we're going into we've passed 3 weeks, and we're going into week 4. And everybody's heard the numbers: 800,000 federal workers, furloughed or working without pay. And for the ones that are furloughed, they're stuck at home, and that sucks. One of the things that grinds my gears the most is that we have to pay to go to work and not make. We have to pay to go not make money.
Right.
Wrap your head around that.
Yeah, there's a cost. There's a cost associated with getting out of bed and going to do your job.
Right, gas, childcare, things like that.
Anybody who's lived, paycheck to paycheck knows that it costs money to leave the house in the morning.
So we're going to work and doing our jobs. We're doing our jobs and not getting paid. The people who could end this shutdown are getting paid, but not doing their jobs. Wrap your head around that.
Now, I know you guys are professionals, and this most likely would not happen at FCI, but morale has got to be not great right now, and you have to bring forth the work that you do. You have to be able to do it and still do it well.
And all the staff there know that we have a responsibility to ourselves. We have that whole family dynamic, and we believe in that. Rob, you want to add on that?
Yeah, and it's a we're public safety officers. We protect the public. We know that it's a job that's important. We're not going to slack off. We're not going to say, forget this because our job doesn't matter. It's all about me. No, we're going to go to work. We're going to do whatever we can as long as we can. But the reality is that it's a tough situation.
I spoke to a young officer yesterday. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
A young officer yesterday morning. I was coming in. He was coming off the midnight to 8 shift. And I said, hey, we're going on the radio tomorrow. Anything specific you want me to add or throw in? And he's like, it just sucks, but not so much despair, but more disappointment. In his voice, and he says, I'm really beginning to question my career choice.
And that's a big, big point because we have a large portion of our staff with under 5 years in the agency, in federal government service. What's to keep them long term? Why would you stay at a job that regularly, it seems like every 2 or 3 years we're getting a government shutdown? What's to keep you in this job when you could go to an outside private industry and make money and not really have to worry as much about being furloughed or shut down? These guys can leave. They're not locked in. We're going to lose a lot of staff over this.
Will you guys hang for another segment?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.